brought by the returning officer from the constituencies against the ones which have been transmitted. That's the exercise that is called verification. Tallying is aggregating, it's adding up the numbers just to make sure that that has been done. And this exercise was carried out. And we'll show you by the videos that will be played that in fact, the members of the commission, the commissioners, were involved in the exercise that was being undertaken at the National Tallying Center. Now, my lords and my ladies, you are also referred to extensively to the regulations and to the Gazette notice. So let me say this first. This is the first time, my lords and my ladies, that I hear a person being criticized for being too open. The chairman informed the purpose of a Gazette notice to inform the general public. The chairman informed the general public that he is the returning officer for purposes of the presidential election. He didn't need to do it, yes, but he did it. And he is being criticized for that very act of informing the public that of this fact. Secondly, they are now saying that because of the forms being in the public portal, it was possible for those forms to be interfered with in some way, and we'll show that there was no such interference. But the criticism now is you are too transparent. You are just showing people things. Even your numbers, you are showing them. That is the complaint. And my lords and my ladies, this court has gone to great lengths to say that under Article 10, transparency is an essential ingredient of governance. So when you are being transparent by providing information, how can you be vilified for that? My lords, the chairperson is also criticized for setting out the result path at the National Tallying Center. He is telling the public, this is how we'll carry out the function of tallying and verifying. How can that be a source of criticism? Nobody is saying that there's a promise you made in the result path that was not followed. And my lords and my ladies, it's a humble submission that the process that was followed at the National Tallying Center, which is set out in the Gazette notice that I do not need to read out to you, was transparent, was verifiable, and was in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. None of the agents that were involved and that signed the Form 34A has denied that they signed it. Nobody has come to challenge any particular document saying that it is not their document. And an interesting question was asked yesterday. How was a handwritten document to have been changed? In fact, by having it handwritten, it helps in ensuring that if there is any alteration, this is something that can be easily seen because you can't change somebody's handwriting. And my lords, as I leave this point, it is also important to note that the agents of the presidential candidates, all of them, all four presidential candidates, their agents were at the National Tallying Center on the day. All of them. They participated in the process of tallying and verification. None of them has sworn an affidavit saying any of the numbers that were being, or the exercise that was being undertaken was wrong. None of them has picked a document, and they were allowed to take copies of all the documents. They were allowed to take images. None of them has complained about that process. Then we go to the issue of the 27 constituencies, and this makes me feel very sad. Because, my lords and my ladies, as this process was going on the 15th of August, at about 3 o'clock, the whole exercise of tallying and verifying had been completed, and that is in the affidavit of Marjan and Professor Goulier. Members of certain political parties decided that it was time to stop a process that had already started. We all watched in horror on TV as members, some of them who were in this court, confronted the chairperson, threw down the pulpit where he was to announce the results, threw down chairs, assaulted the chairperson and the commissioners. In fact, Professor Goulier, the chairperson, and the CEO were injured. And we have attached documents showing the injuries that they sustained. And the intention was to stop the declaration from being made. Now, this is critical, my lords. Everybody has said why it is important that a government should not be established by means other than those set out in the Constitution. But equally, nobody should stop the process of the Constitution that result in the establishment of a government in accordance with its provisions. Stopping that process is equivalent to preventing the